Hi there, folks, and welcome back to Illustrating Edibles. Today we're going to take a look at wild roses. Not surprising in the rose family, and these are shrubs. So most parts of rose shrubs are edible. The hips remain on the branches throughout winter, so they are available when most other fruits are gone. Hips can be eaten fresh or dried or used in tea, jam, jelly, syrup, and wine. Usually only the fleshy outer layer is eaten. Because they are so seedy, some indigenous nations considered rose hips famine food. Rose petals may be eaten alone as trail nibble, added to salads, teas, jellies, and wines, or candied. Rose leaves, roots, and peeled twigs have also been used in teas. Buds, young shoots, and young leaves may be eaten raw or cooked. Rose hips are rich in vitamins A, B, E, and K, and are one of the best sources of vitamin C. 3 hips can contain as much vitamin C as an orange. During World War II, when oranges could not be imported, British and Scandinavian people collected hundreds of tons of rose hips to make syrup. The vitamin C content of fresh hips varies greatly, but that of commercial, quote-unquote, natural rose hip products can fluctuate even more. Stem or root bark tea was taken to treat diarrhea, stomach upset, or syphilis, and to reduce labor pain. It was also used as an eye wash for treating snow blindness. Root decoctions were used in hot compresses for reducing swelling, gargled to treat mouth bleeding, tonsillitis, and sore throats, or mixed with sugar to make a syrup for soothing sore throats. The leaves were boiled to make a wash for strengthening babies. Rose petals were taken to relieve colic, heartburn, headaches, and mouth sores. They were also ground and mixed with grease to make a salve for mouth sores, or mixed with wine to make a medicine for relieving earaches, toothaches, and uterine cramps. The cooked seeds were eaten to relieve sore muscles. The bark of Nootka rose. The bark of Nootka rose was used as a wash for sore eyes, and the chewed leaves were applied as poultice to bee stings. Dried rose petals have a lovely fragrance and have been used in potpourri. The inner bark was sometimes smoked like tobacco, and the roots were boiled to make hair rinse. Pithy stems were occasionally used for pipe stems, handles, or arrow shafts, and heavy split wood was used to make cradle hoops. Rose sprigs were hung on cradle boards to keep ghosts away from babies, and on the walls of haunted houses and in graves to prevent the dead from howling. During pit cooking, the leaves of Nootka rose were placed under and over food to add flavor and prevent burning. The roots were combined with gooseberry and cedar roots to make reef nets. Hunters made a wash made from Nootka rose branches to get rid of their human scent. Looks like wild roses come in actually a variety of species, but I'm just going to stick to Ontario because that's where I'm at, and these are the only ones that I would ever see. So here we have the large hip rose. It's a shrub 1.2 to 1.8 meters tall, with stems hairy beneath with bristles and fine thorns, single, large to 10 centimeters across flowers, from white to purple and red hips. Asian species naturalized in sand dunes and disturbed sites from Ontario to Newfoundland. We also have the prairie rose, which is a small shrub 20 to 50 centimeters tall, with well-developed thorns at its joints, no small bristles or prickles on upper stems, small clusters of 3 to 5 centimeter wide flowers, or 6 to 10 millimeter long hips. It grows in thickets, prairies, and on riverbanks in southern Northwest Territories, Yukon, and from British Columbia to Ontario. So all over, really. Except for, all over. Oh, we got some extra time in the video. So I've been reading Braiding Sweetgrass, and I'm gonna leave a link to the book in the description. Really good book, a good sort of marriage between traditional ecological knowledge and what we consider, scientific knowledge of plants and their relationship to humans. And something that the book constantly brings up is this the term reciprocity. And I know since about 2019, I would say, we hear a lot of, gratitude. I'm so grateful. I have such gratitude. And it's great. I do have a lot of gratitude in my life. There's a lot of things that I'm very lucky to have and am grateful for. But the book has me thinking about reciprocity. Now, reciprocity essentially means, how do you reciprocate what you are given? Essentially, how do you express your gratitude and thankfulness in an active way? Because when I think of whenever we say, I'm so grateful, like I feel so grateful, it is very important to kind of take those moments and appreciate them for what they are, especially if you're having a rough time, if you get anxious like I do. It's really hard some moments to remember that you do have so much to be grateful for and to practice gratitude, because gratitude is very much an inner thing. But when we talk about reciprocity, that's an outer thing. That's an expression of gratitude. And the book talks about when we express gratitude in reciprocity, it's essentially, how can we take all the good things we've been given and benefited from and give that either back to whomever or whatever has given us that opportunity, that has made us have those feelings? How do we give it back? How do we, or at least, the whole pay it forward, how do we pass it on? And it's very interesting because it's not very easy to do, because it has you thinking about your relationship with other things, with the things that make you grateful. So perhaps you're grateful for your parents. How do you reciprocate that? How do you let them know that you are grateful? Perhaps you're grateful for your job or your friends. Maybe you're grateful for even just the possessions you own, the food that you eat. So how do you reciprocate? How do you kind of take what you've been given and give it back to the universe? It's a little bit like the concept of karma as well. But I think it's deeper than that, because karma feels very, you put the positive thoughts, the positive vibes, all that out there, and it usually comes back. But the idea of reciprocity, I feel like, I don't know, if you've read the book or if you're well versed in reciprocity, please leave a comment and let me know. But to me, it's a much harder to reciprocate something than it is to just be grateful. Like I said, gratefulness to me feels very passive. Still good, but it's passive, so it's something you work on your own. Whereas reciprocity is something that you actively do. So when we look back at all these edible plants, they're these powerhouses of benefits for humans. And that's the thing. The book talks about, like, a lot of what these plants offer is for themselves and also for the animals who eat them. But we're the animals who eat them too, and we found ways to uncover what they try to do for us. So how do we give back to plants? Things that don't necessarily ask for anything in return, but would probably, really like it. And not just plants too, maybe the people or animals in your life. But those are the kinds of things I was thinking about reading Braiding Sweetgrass and doing this series. I know I always say, if you take anything away, from this, I hope you learned something about wild roses, and maybe you'll recognize it next time you're out and about. Or maybe today you learned a little bit about gratitude, and maybe you'll think about reciprocity. Because that's just what I've been thinking about. And we're all in this together, Anyway, as always, thanks for tuning in, and take care.